Hey guys, welcome to a new video. So today I'm going to be talking about ULTY because everywhere I go, every social media post I see, everyone seems to be talking about it. Everyone seems to be getting into it and it is becoming extremely popular, and that seems to be correlated, and the evidence seems to be within the assets under management. So how many people are starting to invest into it and how popular it is. Now, Misty, these are the assets under management for the YieldMax funds, and as you will see, Misty, the GOAT, it's still the number one. It's got over 5 billion assets under management, so it's the leader. NVIDIA just behind, and ULTY now number 3. Now, I think 2 or 3 months ago, that was literally down here behind YMAX, but it's now number 3, and this is mid-July data, by the way. So this could actually have already changed, because from what I'm seeing is that everyone seems to be getting into ULTY at the moment. Since the new strategy, since it went weekly, it seems to be very popular. So we're just going to talk about that. But before we do, we did also have the announcements for Group D distributions yesterday. So that is, of course, my favorite group because it is Misty. It's my biggest holding. It's almost half of my whole YieldMax investments accounts for Misty, my Misty holding. And then, of course, I'm also in AIYY, SMCY, XYZY as well within Group D. And then the weeklies, I'm in LFGY, YMAG, and ULTY, of course, which we're going to talk about. But now, a little bit disappointing for Misty and the Misty Mafia. Some people not too happy with it. It is the lowest Misty distribution, I believe, that there has ever been, at $1.18. You know, there's positives to that, and the fact that the share price isn't too good at the moment. It's I think it's like just under $21, and so the lower this is, the less that the share price is going to be reduced by that distribution amount coming out of the share price. So if it's just under $20, then it's going to go down to 19.50, 19.60, which is low for Misty, considering what I had projected for this Bitcoin bull run, which I still am a big believer in, and I still think Bitcoin and crypto will have an incredible 6 months from here. So I still think it'll do really well. And for me, I can't complain. Like, that's $11,700 Australian net for me. That's minus withholding tax. So, you know, and we've got, of course, it's August. We've got 2 Group D distributions for this month. So we've got another Misty at the end of the month. We've got, you know, all the other Group D ones, AIYY, SMCY. SMCY killed it. It's actually my savior. I think it's the best one so far. It actually, because I've been buying pretty well at low. My average price on SMCY is $19.01, and I think the current share price is around $23. So I'm in profit on the share price, and I'm getting really good distributions from it as well. So talked about SMCY in my previous videos. Absolutely love it. I think it's a great fund. I think it's still got great potential as an AI and tech stock. I think it'll do really well. And it's showing, and it's volatile, so it makes great premium, great income. So loving the SMCY fund. It actually works out to me as a 99% annual net return in terms of dividend, which is just amazing. XYZY did pretty well as well. And then the weeklies, LFGY, so consistent, always 47 cents. YMAG, awful, just forget about it, 7 cents. And then ULTY, 10 cents, which is, I think it's been 10 cents for the last 2 or 3 weeks now. So doing really well. And people are just loving it, like I say, and getting into it, getting lots of attention at the moment. Now, what have I been buying this week or over the past week? I've been really researching the Round Hill weekly ETFs, and I've got to say, I've got a soft spot for the slight leverage on them, the 120% leverage, the extra exposure, 1.2 times the underlying. So for Coinbase, COIW, they're seeking a return of 1.2 times the underlying Coinbase. And I just think, because of my belief and my research, that crypto is going to do really well. We're going to have a big bull run into crypto and Bitcoin for the second half of this year. I'm positioning myself with these ones because I actually think Like, I love YieldMax, and I'm so heavily invested into them, but I actually think that in a big bull run, the round hill weekly ETFs will do better simply because they're leveraged and they get more exposure. In a downturn, I want to get out of them because they'll go up by an extra 20% because they're leveraged by 1.2 times. But in a downturn or in a bear market, in a crypto winter, they'll go down by an extra 20% on top of that. So even worse. So they're definitely riskier. But for me, I'm just positioning myself for this Bitcoin and crypto bull run that's coming, that I believe is coming. So I've got into the Misty equivalent, with which they just launched last week, MSTW, and because I think that's going to be really good, and COIW, which is the Coinbase one. So I've got into those. They're weeklies, and I'm pretty excited to see how they're going to perform over the next few months or so. And of course, ULTY, because I'm looking to buy about 50 to 100 shares every week to reinvest into it to bring my average cost price down for ULTY, because my average cost price is $9.51 and ULTY trades around $6.30 at the moment. So I got in high, and I'll show you what that looks like. So if you look at let's talk about ULTY now. So if you look at the all-time chart, which this is, it is not pretty. It is bloody ugly, to be honest. Like, if you were getting in at $20 and it's now $6.22, you're not going to be that happy, right? This looks bad. And that's why from the outset, everyone's like, ULTY, why would you be investing in that? It looks awful. Look at it. You've made no money. Okay, so this is an all-time chart from when it started. So you'd be down from a $20 share price to $6.22. But this is without dividends and distributions. So if we click this button down here, this adjusts for the dividends. So even from inception, because ULTY is so good, it has such a high distribution rate. I'll just take you to the current distribution rate, 85%. And it's pretty consistent with distributions, like especially recently since the new strategy and it becoming weekly. Because it's so consistent, it's so high that even if you got in right at the beginning at a $20 share price, you would actually still be up now. That's how crazy it is. That's how, since especially the tariff chaos in April, all these distributions have really helped to bring it up, and you'd actually have a total return positive, even though you've lost all that that share price. So it's pretty crazy to think that. So, and this will show it actually, because this is a year. So this is when, ULTY was like $20 a share, and it's now $6.20. But if you look at it from a year's perspective, it's still second behind YMAX. So you're up 23%, even if you entered the market at $20. So it's not quite up to YMAX over a year, but it's still beating YMAG just and LFGY. Well, that launched later, so that's not a fair comparison. But okay, so that's pretty good, even if you launch then. All right, so let's look at a closer time frame. 6 months. 6 months. Battle of the weeklies. ULTY wins 12% over 6 months. So even with that downturn that all ETFs and stocks experience with all the stuff with tariffs, you'd still be up on every single weekly with ULTY being the winner. Now, if we look at 1 month, what's doing the best over a monthly time span out of the weeklies? The best one is ULTY. It's generating 6.47% a month for the past month, and it's pretty consistent with that. So I'd say that's pretty much a monthly thing. So if you look at it from a month perspective, I think what's fair thing to do is I like to look at it from kind of the downturn. So we're in a green market. This is something to consider, by the way, is that we are in a green market. We're in a bull market. Like, the stock market has been rising ever since that downturn of the tariffs around the beginning of April. So if we go from here, April 7th, to here, the market's just been recovering. It's been green pretty much most weeks, pretty much every week. So look at all of these. ULTY, still the winner. So from that period, that beginning of April time, ULTY is up 45.82%. That's just, what's that, 3 months, 4 months? 45% you'd be up in both share price and distributions. This is total return, remember. So this is both share price and distributions. So ULTY is the winner in terms of weekly total return investment. YMAX second with 39%, LFGY 39%. And I love LFGY. I think it's so consistent. And also because I believe there's going to be a big crypto and Bitcoin bull run, I'm heavily invested into LFGY, and I think it will have an excellent second half of the year. So I'm kind of not equally invested. I think I've got more shares in LFGY at the moment, more money invested into LFGY, but I'm loving the fact that ULTY is doing really well now for the past 3 or 4 months since it changed its strategy. And as you can see here, the results show that. If we take the distributions off this and we go from here, look, you can see we go 3 months. This is just share price, right? It's just been consistent, chop, 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 but it's getting that 85% kind of distribution. These are the distributions per week. And you can see how consistent this is. 10 cents, 9 cents, 9, 9, 9, 8, went down to 8, 9, 9, 9. And then yesterday's announcement was 10, and the one before that was 10 as well. So really consistent distribution, and they managed to get that NAV decay, that NAV erosion under, they managed to sort it out. And that's because they've changed their strategy. It's become a weekly ETF, and they've made some other strategic shifts, which are just highlighted here. They've become much more focused on actively managing it. So they're targeting high IV volatile stocks. So that's to produce higher premium, higher income, stuff that people are really happy about. When you go on Twitter and everyone's like, oh, ULTY smashing another 10 cents. Yeah, and that's what they're doing. That's the new strategic shift. They're actively managing it, so they're rotating those as well. Synthetic spreads, that's for more flexibility of income. Frequent turnover and rebalancing, that's because they are more actively managing it. I think it's got a much higher expense ratio now because they're so on top of the fund that they're really rotating those funds to make sure that the NAV is staying stable, but they're getting the highest distributions and highest dividends they possibly can. New holdings like Robinhood, Carvana, more dynamic exposure to high premium names. So like I said, it's more actively managed, and they are rotating those stocks. They actually invest in the underlying as well. So they're getting some of that to also produce income as well as keep that NAV stable. So for me, I was hating ULTY when it first, or not when it first came out, but I got in at 9, I think it was 10, and I've been slowly, I think I got in around here, 10 something. And I've been slowly, since it changed its strategy and it's been proven to do much better and still provide a really high distribution consistently, I've been dollar cost averaging into it on a weekly basis, buying 50 to 100 shares per week. And that has been reducing my average cost price, and my average cost price is now, what did I say, $9.51. I'm hoping to get that down to about $8 because I'm going to try and obviously reinvest my distributions and buy 50 to 100 shares per week with it. So everyone's talking about it for good reason, because I think they've really sorted the fund out. It's doing well, and I'm excited to see where it goes and see how many shares I can get. I'm looking to probably, I don't know, as long as it keeps doing well, I'll get to 2,000, and then if it's still doing well, I'll get to 3,000, and we'll go from there. And then maybe I'll rotate out of the crypto investments that I'm in, because I do believe that there'll be a big bull run, a euphoria peak, and then somewhere around that top, I'm going to be looking to get out of Misty and Coney, and I'm obviously going to need to reinvest that money somewhere, and it'll probably be into the likes of SMCY, ULTY, PLTY if it's still going strong, NVIDIA, some of those stronger ones, or anything that looks good at that time. We're looking at probably end of year, November, December, January. I don't know. Some people say there's going to be a super cycle for Bitcoin and crypto, but I'm not hedging my bets on that. I'm looking to get out at some kind of euphoric top. That's my plan, because I don't want to risk it. But anyway, ULTY looking very good. Let me know if you started to invest in ULTY or started to reinvest like I have. And let me know what you think in the comments. And if you like these types of videos, if you want me to talk about anything specific, please let me know in the comments, and I'll be happy to yeah, go over a different topic or subject that you like, whether it's YieldMax or Round Hill. Maybe I should do a YieldMax versus Round Hill kind of thing, as I've been looking at these Round Hill weekly ETFs and been getting into them to position myself for this Bitcoin and crypto bull run for the second half of this year. But anyway, thanks for listening, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.